Dude, yes. All right. All right, this is my presentation, Star Trek themed. So the slide headings will be Star Trek themed as well. Don't get into that false dichotomy of what's better, Star Trek or Star Wars. They're totally different. So you can love them both equally. This is my digital fluency ILE presentation, Battles of World War I by Matt Brewer. I don't like teaching war. A lot of historians, I wouldn't call them historians. A lot of armchair historians like to focus on war because it's glitzy, it's glamorous, whatever. Whenever I was in grad school and stuff, I lean more towards cultural history and literary history. So, Ralph Waldo Emerson bores a lot of people, but I think he's awesome. So whenever I teach war, particularly battles, I like to put that on my students because they enjoy it more than I do. Launch sequence, this was how the lesson was set up. I was already doing a flipped classroom, so this kind of worked pretty well with that, and I had already started using some elements of technology in my class, but it was pretty basic. The first thing my students do is every week I upload videos of my lectures to Edmodo where they can view them and get their notes before they come in. Now, I'm a little worried about some of my students because they don't always get the notes before they come in, and some of them never get the notes. I could do something like, accountability log and check their notes every day, but, these kids are, 1 year from college, and 2 years kind of from college, and this AP class is supposed to be college level, and there's only 8 of them, so I put that on them, and, their grades, vary. The ones who do take the notes do better, and that's what they're going to have to get used to in college. We'll see if I continue this next year. I don't know. But first thing they do is watch the video, so we'll just listen to like 5 minutes of it, because it's just my voice. Over there, chapter 24, The Nation at War, 1900 to 1920. American involvement in World War I. America got involved in World War I. We declared war after unrestricted submarine warfare from the Germans did not stop. They violated the Sussex Pledge, where they said they would not, torpedo any more ships without warning. They wouldn't stop torpedoing merchant ships. And they sunk some American ships. Now that pushes us over the edge. So we get involved in World War I. We send troops over there under the command of John J. Okay.
It's Italian.
What? Yeah. I think that's how that goes. Okay. And I encourage them to take the notes as they watch the video. I record it through Screencast-O-Matic, which is a tool that you can use. There's other tools out there like Camtasia and whatnot. I've never used any of those, but Screencast-O-Matic is the one I use. And I also upload just the presentation, which is in a Google slide that they can download or keep, if they... I have some students that have really poor handwriting or they have poor organizational skills, so they can just download the PowerPoint as well. So they also have that option. All that's supposed to be done before they come into class. I didn't even start my timer. And then they came into class, and normally what I would do with this is just do a paper pencil map activity. That's what I did last year when I taught this lesson. So I would give them the map and give them a list of the battles, and then they would have to mark the battles on the map and then say who won which battle. The Allies, America, Britain, France to a lesser extent, and the Axis, the Germans, the Japanese, or to a lesser extent the Italians. But this one, because we were supposed to be digital, I used ThingLink, so I gave them this assignment. Map activity battles of World War I. They had to locate a map of Europe during World War I because a lot of boundaries get redrawn after World War I. Germany gets a lot smaller. Poland reappears. Poland kind of has a rough history if you're not familiar with that. Sometimes they exist, sometimes they don't. But they had to find a period map and then locate these following important battles, where they were, and then answer questions in this Google form. So they find the map, upload it to ThingLink, plot their points, and then that's one grade. And then I have it set up in this Google form where they will answer, first they post their link to their ThingLink so I can look at that. They have, and I kind of attention. If you've ever seen York with Gary Cooper, really great movie. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. He was the most decorated soldier in World War I. He didn't even want to go fight because he was a born-again Christian. He believed that the Bible was against killing. He didn't want to go kill people. And then he went to the recruiting because he was forced to go. But I want you, if you still don't want to go, I'll sign your waiver. And he read the book and decided that if he didn't go, more people would die. So he decided that was the better choice. He goes over there, single-handedly captures a whole battalion of Germans, and then gets more medals than anyone else, American and foreign awards. So that's just one example. And then they answer all these other questions. A lot of them are TEKS aligned. Most of them are, but especially in history, the TEKS are kind of bare. So I encourage them to do more. Let's see. So that's their Google form. And then engaged. What worked? The students got their notes through self-paced learning, so they were able to go at their own speed. They were able to get the notes, instead of me just saying, all right, everybody hurry up and write this down because I'm going when I'm going and you got to keep up. That's kind of where I feel like maybe the students aren't going to be as prepared for college, so that's just one of those things. You kind of gain some in some areas, but you kind of lose some in another. A handful of students finished the assignment during the class period. Last year, I had more students in my AP U.S. History than I had my regular U.S. History, and that shouldn't have happened. But a lot of these kids had, they had been in pre-AP and advanced classes since, A.C. Williams, so they were just kind of passed along in the system, and they got used to being in those classes. Last year, I had talked to Mr. Sturts, the counselor, and Mr. Knutson, who's like the guru when it comes to AP rigor, and he said, make it hard, and you'll have less kids next year. I promise you. And I said, okay. And so I made it hard, and this year I have 8 kids in AP U.S. History. So I went from about 40 to 8. But I've still got 5 more. College Board says statistically you should have 1 AP kid for every 30 Gen Ed kids. So I'm still 5 above what I should have, but we're getting there. Not dual AP, and so you can't get to that AP rigor if you have kids that aren't in the effort, lag behind in that, who don't put a lot of effort into it. So those kids didn't finish the assignment. The 2 kids that if we were doing it, AP-wise, I Google form that they had submitted and returned in my. So this is their. What happened? Where'd it go? Yeah, better than none. Some of them completed it after class, so that was pretty good. But, okay, yeah. So this is an example of what their map ended up looking like. See, she's plotted her battles there, and then she.
Just do text on the penguin?
Yeah. Yeah, they just labeled what the battle was, and then in there, this is their response to the questions for checking for comprehension. Let's see. And then evasive maneuvers. What would I do differently? What didn't work? Most of the students didn't finish in time. When I wrote this, I kind of felt like I tried to do too much in too little time, but in reality, I think it's just keeping students on task. I was kind of in a bad situation because I had tried to book the computer lab in advance because not all my students have iPads, and but Miss Wise had beat me to it. So I was kind of in the free range area in the library. So I had like students on one side of the room, students on the other side of the room, and their computers were facing the same way. So if I'm over looking at these kids, I can't see what these kids are doing. So it was kind of hectic to stay on top of them, but that's all right. What would I do differently? I would have students analyze a map instead of making one. It's kind of cool to have them make their own maps, but in reality, a lot of them, you can get them to do more critical thinking instead of just labeling if you try to get them to dig deeper into the nuances of the map. I would book the computer lab more in advance, although how was I to know Miss Wise was going to do it like 2 months in advance? Advice, keep it simple and book way, way ahead of schedule.
She came to my Google training too.
I was, yeah.
She's more digitally fluid this year.
Yeah. So that's it.